If you go to the beautiful country of Ireland today, you may be greeted with run-down houses that were built 15 years ago and schizophrenic people on the streets trying to offer you in a side quest every 5 seconds. But what if I told you it used to be even better than it is now? Enter the Celtic Tiger era. This was a time between the mid-90s and late 2000s which saw a rapid economic growth in the country. It might not sound all that great, but if you look at images of the country around this time, it looked like such a better place to live. A couple of years of my childhood had been spent in the latter half of this era, so I could technically say that I grew up during it. It seemed like one major thing that was on everyone's mind in the 90s and the 2000s, especially 2002, was the World Cup, and now, 23 years later, we have a film not explicitly about a football tournament, but something more deeply personal. Saipan is a historical drama starring Éanna Hardwicke and Steve Coogan. The film takes place on the eve of the 2002 FIFA World Cup when Irish captain Roy Keane forfeits his place in the squad at the team's preparation base in Saipan following a heated disagreement with manager Mick McCarthy. If you take one look at my channel, you'll probably guess I know nothing about football, which for a man in my country sometimes sounds pretty unheard of, but we exist. The main reason I was pulled into this was my obsession with supporting original films, especially Irish films, as to me it's important. While it may be important, the main question still remains, is the movie actually any good? Well, let's find out. I'm going to start by talking about the performances, leading with Éanna Hardwicke, who plays Roy Keane in the movie. He's known for having roles in movies like Vivarium. I personally haven't seen the guy in anything before, and before I get into his performance, I'll just straight up say that I think the guy should get award recognition for this movie. To put it short, he is incredible here. For those watching this video who don't know who Roy Keane is, he's commonly known by people in the country for having a sort of uncaring and almost arrogant way of being, for how he carries himself, and I think Hardwicke embodies this perfectly. Every interaction he has with another person, he always has a line reading which tells the other person he doesn't care for what they have to say, and always has some humorous quip in his back pocket. At the same time, there are moments, especially in the latter half, when the movie's tensions rise, he manages to switch his anger on at an instant when confronting or being confronted, and the weight of his emotions can be immediately understood when it happens. At the same time, there's elements of guilt which he is able to show through his expressions, which were done really well too. Steve Coogan plays Mick McCarthy in this. He's known for movies like 24-Hour Party People and Tropic Thunder. I think Coogan did a good job at balancing a level of idiocy and his own brand of arrogance through the runtime. There are points on Coogan's face where it looks like the lights aren't on, yet at the same time, it feels like there's something bubbling in him, which naturally is let loose by the third act. The chemistry between Coogan and Hardwicke's character are set in stone right from the beginning, and is further pushed when the two of them meet for the first time. There's this massive tension between the two, and it just grows and grows into what looks like full hatred. It was very interesting to see. Obviously, these two aren't the only actors here. There are others who take the role of footballers and other football associates, and while I think they did well, I can't fully give too much detail as the connection with the real people are non-existent to me. So with that, I can move on to other topics which stuck out to me way more. I really liked how the structure of this movie was laid out. This isn't usually something I would always compliment on this channel, but it was an aspect that really stuck out to me here. The movie follows a little less than a month up until the World Cup is meant to commence, which is constantly shown through graphics counting down the days like some sort of doomsday clock. I usually have mixed feelings on graphics in films, more specifically on which fonts the movies will use, but here they usually blend in well with the environment. It does give off a sense of higher stakes by doing this, the closer and closer it gets to the main event as the film goes on. I love the opening in this movie. It's mainly just a montage with a mix of different archival footage, and the song choice that is put over this sequence along with the lyrics that can be heard in the song made for a striking opening statement for a movie that honestly had me hooked instantly. While this movie is in a way a biopic, there is an explicit statement at the start of the movie that a lot of the events in the movie is fictional for dramatization purposes, which is understandable for legal reasons, and I did prefer the method of taking an event of someone's life rather than their entire story from childhood into adulthood. We do get only a little bit of Keane's childhood, but it's only probably about a minute of runtime in total. Jumping ahead to the third act, there is a sequence in the movie where Keane and McCarthy have a confrontation, and the back and forth the two of them have is super engaging, humorous, and above all, extremely tense to watch. It borders on some edge of your seat level shit. I was shocked to discover how gorgeous this film looked from start to finish, as my expectations going in made me think that the movie would be more low budget than it appeared to be. Pierce McGrail was the director of photography on this movie. He's done cinematography for other movies like Calm with Horses and the 2017 version of Little Women. There is some basic techniques used here that are very effective all the same. Most of the tense scenes are done in close-up, mostly being handheld, to add to the intensity of what's happening. With the help of some editing, there is a short moment here that feels reminiscent of something that would be seen in a PTA movie, which had me excited and impressed. I thought the color grading was done really well, along with the lighting in many scenes, particularly some scenes in the third act. I thought the use of some spotlights causing lens flares added great depth to the scenes that they were in. Speaking of the editing, I thought it was an aspect that was noticeable in a good way for being done really well. There are a number of sequences that act as montages, which are full of aspect ratio changes and archive footage, as I said, while mixing new footage that is meant to look like old footage. Overall made this thing feel very immersive, and especially made the pacing go by really well. This thing is only an hour and a half. There's no ounce of fat on it. It does exactly what it needs to do in the right amount of time in order to get the story across, and I thought this worked really well. The sound design is another aspect that stuck out to me, as there are some really creative choices thrown in every now and then too. Moving on, I want to talk about the music. Before I talk about the original score that was made for the movie, I especially want to talk about the licensed music that was used here. Every song choice felt completely intentional for the scenes they were in, and when movies do this, it really makes me respect them a lot more. Similarly, with a recent movie, I thought it was cool that Mary Supreme did the same thing with its song choices in that movie. From the opening of the movie, using a somewhat less than popular Oasis song, which ironically features the lyrics "We need each other," helped me to know I was in for something pretty special. Similarly, in the first act, the Christmas song Fairy Tale of New York is played, which specifically focuses on a point in the song where the lyrics read, "You took my dreams from me." I could go on and on about little song choices like this, but I feel like I've made my point across as much as I can. The score for this movie was composed by David Holmes, who's done music for movies like the Ocean's Trilogy and the movie Hunger. There isn't too much overuse of an original score here when it's all used. All the tracks suit most of the scenes that they're in. The instrumentation is mainly just used on piano, and it sounded nice to listen to in the cinema speakers. Going into this movie, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I thought it was another low-budget Irish film that wouldn't be too much to write home about. In saying that though, in the past couple of years, Irish film have brought us some pretty great movies. This film, I will say in particular, has not only given me hope for the future of Irish cinema, but makes me want to be an active part of it someday. I was honestly buzzing by the time the credits rolled for this one. It was one of the films this year that had me fully invested, especially since it feels like pretty much every department is working at full capacity here. This definitely isn't a thriller by any means, but the movie is for sure thrilling for a good majority of the runtime, which made me really like it. I'm giving Saipan 4.5 stars. The performances here are great, especially the two from Hardwicke and Coogan. They are without a doubt the highlight here. It's fun, it's wild, it's incredibly well made, very engaging from start to finish. I honestly can't give it enough praise. Even if you're not a fan of football, right, this movie is still incredibly enjoyable. This is currently running in Irish and UK cinemas. However, for my American audiences, I'm not sure if this is showing in theaters over there or if distribution will even reach that far. But for the people who are able to, I highly recommend seeing this movie in your local cinema. This absolutely deserves to be seen on the big screen.